So KULR has sold off over 30% today. And before we get into this video, I actually want to play an overview of what we had going last time for KULR stock. Here is the overview. So the first time ever betting against a company publicly on YouTube and actually making some put options, buying some puts, we make a $300 investment turn into $250 profit. So it came out there with about $600 by shorting KULR. I wish that I was more bullish at the moment, but hey, this stock is holding true to the downtrend. We've seen it time and time again. It pushes up here, it gets rejected. It pushes up, it gets rejected, almost breaking out and then continuing down. And that just happened again. We actually started our shorts right here at the end of last week. And today we see it get rejected and continue down again. We'll see. The last hope for KULR to go up is that we see it hold above this green line, this 200-day moving average, maybe. But otherwise, we see it sell below. It's not looking too hot for KULR at the moment. There's three things we look. Okay, guys, so that was the overview. And I wish I had a better outlook, but unfortunately, that's exactly what happened. We saw that not only did it not hold that level, we actually got a sell down here to 72 cents. So I say unfortunately, but like we were able to make money. I know our portfolio's up. Some people are like, Will, what's going on with KULR? I was really hoping they would be good. And, we really changed the tune on KULR back when they started coming out with more and more hype and they crossed below that 200-day moving average. And it was one red flag that tipped us off, which I'll show you in a second. They're down 36% at one point today. What's the reasoning? Well, if you take a look, we could go through our three-part analysis, the market they're in space battery tech, but even there is where it starts getting shaky. Even in the market analysis, they're in space tech, but they're also blockchain, but they're also robotics, but they're also AI. So what are they? That's one thing that kind of hits them not so good. So if you search KULR, we go to the news, the mainstream news. They had this 1-to-8 reverse splits that attracted major institutional investors. You have, broader, you have this broader sell-off with the market, but outside of the broader market, we were looking at their financials. They came in big, negative net income in quarter one. That's what made us really look at KULR as a bear, but now they've sold off even more. So is there like any hope to potentially buy a dip here? Is there any hope that we could see that we would maybe want to buy the company because they've dipped so much? Well, according to their website and what we've seen from the investor standpoint, we look at their announcements and they just came out with an announcement today. They were KULR to consolidate shares as part of broader market positioning strategy. And as soon as they did that, as soon as they made that news, things split and went down. The investors apparently did not like that. And then you got other news that's come out with them. They had this Bitcoin corporations, Bitcoin for corporations initiative led by, I think it's MicroStrategy. And then you have KULR Technology Group set to join Russell 3000. The issue that has been a red flag for us personally, it's not the Bitcoin investments. In fact, any companies holding Bitcoin on their cash, I'm very bullish on that. I think that's a good move. I don't think the Bitcoin necessarily is what crushed them or saw the stock sell off. The main thing is the intrinsic value and the market positioning and the communication of their marketing. If you notice this common theme where they have these news articles come out and they use images that are not their own. They use AI generated images. They use these, stock footage images that are just meant to look really cool. Okay. And some people said, Will, you're reading into the lines wrong. Every company uses AI generate. Not really. If you're using really, really fancy, super nice images that are off Pixabay, which is what we found with this image, it starts to say, why don't you just show us the real tech? And where things started to look even more interesting was their robotics. they have this partnership with this German company, and they came out with this video here, which I don't know if the video is still there. It looks like maybe the video is gone. But they came out with this video a while ago where in the video they show these robotics that have their branding on them. And when we dug deep, they were just putting their own sticker or a digital sticker, not even a real sticker or a real engraving, on battery tech that was not even theirs. And so this was a partnership they made. I don't know if the video's loading. Maybe I got to refresh the page. See if the video loads. Doesn't look like it. Something's going on with the site. Not sure what's going on there. But nevertheless, you know, you got a lot of focus on their company, and it's just the issue is the market selection, because it started off with battery tech, which was quite cool, and we were very bullish on it because they have their NASA contracts. But then it was like the SpaceX mission, they were buying or paying SpaceX, and then the mission gets delayed and hasn't happened when it was supposed to happen. That was one thing. And then outside of that, then you have the robotics side, which I don't know if they show. Do they show a video now, or did they get rid of the video? What if we play this video? It doesn't play. So they got rid of the video. I guess it doesn't work anymore. But before, they had a video that showed like a bunch of stuff that was not really theirs with their logo on it. It was really strange. So that was one of the things that tipped us off. That's why we shorted it. You know, while it's nice, we're able to make the, you know, couple $1,000. It's still like, I understand the annoyance in that is that when we started covering them back in December, getting into 2025, right before then, there's a lot of bullish optimistic approaches. We were able to trade it and see it get up to that $5 range. Then you start to see it sell down. The cross below the moving average is fine. It was holding that support. It was fine. But then it started to sell off more. And then they started to diversify in all these markets. So as a result, they came in with this stock split. And now it's just sold off as low as 72 cents at one point today. So pretty big dip. It looks like institutional selling or possibly insider selling. No way to tell at this moment, but we'll keep you updated on the movement. Now, when it comes to the news, not any big news outside of the stock split. Does that happen? Yeah, it does. Does the robotics key or their new development on their site maybe play a role in growth? I don't think so. They're very diversified. And the biggest issue that we had with them recently of why this happened, I mean, look, I like that they're building battery tech and they're using materials that are good, but when they moved their factory or where they were working into, it was back to or into Texas next to like Lockheed Martin and stuff. I was talking to some people from Texas and they said, yeah, we don't see a lot happening with them. Like there's not a lot of people at their office, things like that. And, you know, those were just red flags that tipped us off a couple of months ago. And that's why we sold. Now, could it turn around? Yeah, of course it could. It could turn around and we could see things, you know, come back. But from a perspective of, you know, what might be expected, it's a 26% drawdown. There's potential for recoveries, but the reason we played against it and we ended up shorting and why we didn't have any long-term holds or anything like that is because of the intrinsic value change. When you see the net profit margins dip 168%, when you see the net income drop there, then you got to ask questions. When you look at their balance sheet, I believe things were looking better. Their assets went up with Bitcoin, so their total assets were increasing. So really from a balance sheet perspective, things look pretty good. But from the earnings perspective and this recent split, it's too much for investors, apparently. They did not like that. So we'll keep you updated on anything that develops potentially in the bullish or more bearish potential for KULR. And I appreciate you guys, and I hope you got value. If I earned your thumbs up, hit the like button. Let me know your thoughts down below on KULR. And don't forget, we got our sale expiring for StockMeet. If you want to watch us trade live at market open, Monday through Friday, next session at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time, but a little later on the East Coast for those of you guys that get the market open at 9:30. But if you want to be there, it is early in the morning, but you get a free t-shirt as well as our daily live trading. You can see my entries and my exits there in the second link in the description down below. The sale expires as it's our 20K subscriber special, so make sure to go check it out. Again, it's the second link in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.